Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works, where my microphone is now working properly because, you know, it does things like that. How are we all this evening? I hope you are well. There we go. We survived another intro. And yes, before us we have a rather nice looking little Craven tank. So, yes, how is everybody? And hello, James Beeston. Welcome. How are you this evening? Proof of microphone being on. Well, I mean, it was on. Sort of. And, as well as the little Craven, we have the little bag of Craven parts. I told you it existed. And I knew where it was. It was, of course, with my drawings of the Craven. So yes, welcome everybody. We have a Craven to finish. What do we need to do? But because Javier pointed it out to me before the stream, we have a smoke box dart to fit. I mean, we had it to do anyway, it's just he pointed it out, so I thought I'd best mention. We have a smoke box dart to fit. We have handrails to fit down each side of the tank. We have some handrails forward and backwards each side of the cab. We have some uprights to support the cab roof. We have the cab roof itself. We have the brake standard. We have the reverser handle. We might even be really good and refit all the brake blocks that I've broken off. I don't guarantee it. I don't think I've got them all. But there we go. So yes, that is the main idea for the stream. For those that were here last week, she's been touched up paintwork wise through the week, so she's not got any of her red primer showing through anymore. And she is just absolutely gorgeous. She will not be running because of the issue with the wheels. Every time I think I tried to run the motor, and every time the glue just gave out on there, so it does need a new wheel. Of course, it gave out, popped out. The front wheel didn't stop turning, so the motion locked up on the other side. So until I do that, it's not going to run. But it's still going to look very pretty. And isn't that what we all want, really? So, let's start with something easy. And by something easy, I mean we're going to paint our reverser handle, our brake standard, and our roof. No amount of epoxy, I presume. I decided not to bother with the epoxy. I would have tried it, but I thought, you know what, for the price of a wheel, is it worth it? I might as well just get a new wheel that I know is going to be fine. Yes, indeed, James, the bot is now on. Because this week I wasn't being confused by the wrong times on the countdown, so I actually turned everything on when my cues came up to turn it all on. So yes, we are going to grab, that's the wrong paint. I wanted this one that was next to it. We're going to grab some paints, we're going to paint these. I have searched high and low for answers on what colour a Craven roof should be. And I've come to the conclusion that not enough engines had roofs for anyone to bother noting it all. Good evening, Killian. You do spy 3 old engines. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. So, yes, I could find nowhere actual reference to what colour the roof on a Craven loco should be. So we're going with white, which is what I planned on doing anyway. Obviously a white, anything white in the 1860s wasn't staying white for very long. I'm well aware of this, but I want this engine to look its best. Lovely locos, Gary. Thank you, J94. Very well, thanks. And you, good sir? I am quite well, thank you, Killian. Now that the boy's got over his bug, things are less stressful. I don't know why I'm putting that up there so I don't paint on the glass. Why am I worried about painting on the glass? This thing absolutely covered in paint all week. I cleaned it off yesterday. They are indeed the best sort of engines. In the 1860s, labour was cheap enough to make white things stay white. Yeah, but this roof was probably not much more than a white sheet of some form. So by the time it's been sat on top of an engine, I know why I wanted it on there now. You can get at the sides, but I'm going to hold it by the corner and do the sides instead. But yes, we know from photos that things didn't stay white on the railways in the 1860s. Carriage roofs as a prime example. But I want my loco to look ex-works, so it's going to be white. In which case they could just launder it, maybe. I'm not sure it's a launderable sheet. I'm thinking more tarpaulin style. And good evening, Anfield Road. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Just imagine washing lines of roofs at Brighton work. That would not be fun. That would not be fun at all. And good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you this evening? I hope you are well as well. Enamel thinners, that's what I was after. Wash the brush. Not actually enamel thinners, it's white spirit. Duster to take the white spirit off my hand. The duster has been privileged and got a wash again this week. That's how dirty this was until yesterday. It'd be a lot less unfun than cleaning out smoke boxes, I suppose, yes. Bet the cab roofs turned extremely grimy on those steam locos. I bet they did. But this is of course an era where there actually weren't many roofs on locos. So I found it difficult to find any information about what colour the roof should be. And that is using all the proper books where you should find these things, and I couldn't find it. Funnily enough, they probably got dirtier in the 1850s as companies moved from coke to coal. Yeah, true, they probably did. Nice to see you using blue tack. Isn't it wonderful to see me using blue tack? Yes, Alex, you're quite right. Oh, bye. I'm sure you're loving seeing me use all this blue tack. That's got a better grip on it there. And there's all those bits painted for now. Perhaps wagon tarp colour. It could have been wagon tarp colour, yes. If you've seen those Genesis coaches recently, I have. They are looking rather nice. I've given my feedback on them on RM Web. I don't think I've got anything else to add to it. But yes, they are looking rather nice. What colour were carriage roofs? I can't remember what colour Craven carriage roofs were. I see my reminder about on Discord about new commands worked. Yeah, it worked really well. I looked at it immediately after the live stream and thought, oh, there's some really good ones in there. I'll have to remember to add them in the morning. And then forgot. Because, you know, professionalism. And there is the bot reminding everyone to smash that like button or give it a gentle tap. And whilst you're there, if you're not already, please do subscribe and ring the notification bell so you get alerted when I upload a video or go live. Right, that's my YouTube shield done. Right, I'm getting surprise company, be back intermittently. Okay, have fun, enjoy your surprise company. Might get a couple of the SECR ones. Yeah, they're my least favourite of them. The colour is wrong. It's too bright. Way too bright. Right, so next jobs, handrails. I have some handrail knobs in here, along with the pins that I never bothered putting on the couplings. So what we need is to get a drill bit the right size. One looks about right, if I can just line that up because it doesn't line up how it should. Oh no, that's a bit too big. one looks too small, so we want the one in between. That looks good. And should, in theory, go in this chuck quite nicely. Perhaps somebody should try Gary an alarm clock. I don't need an alarm clock. Don't be silly. So yes, Javier has very nicely given us some indents to work with here. Unfortunately, Shapeways have not given us a nice material to work with. No, that's not through. It's almost through. But not quite. Now it's through. And we can check that the handrail knob goes through that hole before doing any more. Yeah, that goes in quite nicely. So now we can drill out the other 3 handrail knobs and get them on there. And here comes Alex with the links. He won't drop the Facebook link on there though. We have one of those now too. Currently, it gets all the things that auto go to my Twitter and nothing else. So, you know. Just saw the discussion about Mattel not suing anyone having interfacings. I don't know when it was one of the companies actually tried to sue Bluebell for having their engine called Stepney. Yeah, that was what I was referencing, was when Brittlecroft tried suing the Bluebell for having Stepney. Which is why I said they're less litigious, because Stepney is currently wearing its face. Dear me, paint. Well, there you go. Look, the paint bill one's there. I mean, it's not one you suggested, but it is there. But yeah, I remember reading all your suggestions for new commands, James, and liking them. And there we go, that's the handrail knob top. Question, how many wagons will the Craven pull? None, it's a passenger engine. It'll pull 4 carriages. Whether it'll be up to the task is another matter, but they are going to be very light garages for a reason. I approve of Gary's approval of my suggested commands. They were good suggestions. You deserve my approval for them. We are also going to put a hole of the same size in the front of the smoke box. I was quite surprised when I saw it in the face when they put it back on, since I remember seeing it years and years ago. Yeah, I was very surprised when they put the face back on. I actually had a talk about it with one of the volunteers there. Because I did not expect to see it wear its face ever again. Now I have to persuade Gary to set up a command that will tip water over Gary if we type drenching. That's never going to happen. I thought Craven tanks were shunters. No. They were tank engines designed by John Craven. And this particular one was a branch line passenger engine. Last time I saw Stepney is when she's in black livery she wore a few years back. Stepney's one of my favourite terriers. Stepney is my favourite existing terrier. I don't think they designed any tank engines though. He designed this one. This was a Craven design, so he did design this one, James. So he must have designed some. I think the reason they haven't tried suing is maybe because it's not advertised as a Thomas event. Possible. What's your favourite non-existing terrier? Well, I've got a... Well... There's one that contains my name and there's one that contains my hometown, so it's sort of... Take your pick. But it's got to be one of them. I have models of both of them. I don't think that's drilled anywhere near far enough. Oh, definitely not. No, it's about halfway, if anything. Let's see if I can get this gripped a bit tighter so it doesn't keep slipping in. Not Fenchurch, no, not Fenchurch. Fenchurch the mongrel, pretending to be an A1. I've only seen Stepney the once. I've only seen it once for each time I've been to the Bluebell, which is quite a few times, if I'm being honest. Don't think the chap presenting these round in the 80s designed any engines at all. Well, you never know. He probably wouldn't want to be associated with John Craven of the Brighton either. Seaford, of course, look at the LBSCR site. There are loads, yep. Fenchurch, one of the terriers featured on my list of favourite terriers. I mean, my list of favourite terriers is 50 engines long. What makes one terrier better / worse than another? The name alone, and maybe other things it's done, and places it's been, and people it's seen. I mean, I'd like to think it's obvious in the fact of the ones that bear my name and the name of the town in which I live. That really does not want to drill into this anymore. Permission to comment a link to terrier names and numbers. I would love to give you permission, but YouTube just won't allow it. You can try, but it won't work. I have no idea why, because my channel isn't set to block links. Fenchurch being restored to running order. It is indeed. Haha, we're through, finally. Fair enough, I guess I've never really looked at it like that. Well, I know, for example, you have a favourite specific engine. Is it a 50? I think it's yeah, it's a 50. Remember everyone, hydration is important. I've never been to Bluebell, but following on social media. It's a fantastic railway. I thoroughly recommend it. Have you ever considered living in the town that bears your name just to confuse everybody? Not a chance. No, never. And there's a link to my Twitter. Go do. Yeah, Warspite. Obviously, Alex. Love all 50s as far as I know. At least I can't remember favouring one. Yeah, Warspite. Always. I know it, you know it. So, holes are drilled. Now, interestingly, it says interestingly, it's not really that interesting, is it? But you wouldn't be here if it wasn't. This model here of this loco that I've got has a single handle on its smoke box. And the drawing I've got of it, post rebuild, also has only one handle. It's not a full round smoke box, it's a D shape that folds up. So I'm assuming that is accurate. And that is what it will be getting. Unfortunately, in the only photo I know of this engine, so I do have a photo of the actual engine, you can't see the front of the smoke box to see its handle. But again, photo of it post rebuild when it was a well tank. And it was a shunter in this condition, despite the fact it is wearing Stroudley passenger livery. I don't know of any other examples of shunters that got passenger livery. Why Warspite? I don't know why Warspite, but yeah. Hang on, I live in the town that bears your name. What's wrong with us? I didn't realise you're in that part of Brighton. There's too much there, if I'm being honest, Ian. I like living in a nice little rural town. So yeah, it is, there's too much there. Sorry, of course, because I love the ship so much, I had tend to gravitate lipos with an aim, but that is mainly for modelling purposes. But I was right. I know you better than you. So yes, handrails. We are going to obviously have the handrail knobs in there. We are also going to have a handrail knob in the front there with a bit of wire coming down to represent the handle. I honestly had forgotten. That's brilliant. That makes it no less funny to me, Alex. I do like a good glass 50, but Warspite was one of the earlier to be withdrawn, and I don't remember seeing that one. When driving 50s and TS, I just go with whatever name it gives me. That's fair enough. Oh, and I have a new follower on Twitter. Excellent. If you are here tonight, I thank you very much. It is appreciated. So yes, 5 little handrail knobs. This one looks no good. That looks like the hole goes through the side of it. It does. That's not much use. I'd best check my wire pokes for all these. I can sort out it going in the side. That's not a problem too much. That one's good. That one's sort of good. Which I'd be on like DP2? Nah. Well, I can't picture DP2. It's a little after my time of interest. In case you hadn't figured. So other than this one that has a slot instead of a hole, and one of them that only has a hole that only goes halfway through, we're all okay. And the one that only goes halfway through is fine, because if we just use that one to make our smoke box dart, we don't need the handrail coming out the other side. See? I use smarts. Saying that, give me a class 40 instead. I've seen one of them crush a British rail pie. So we're going to take my slowly diminishing pot of glue. We're going to poke that in there, and then when I cut that off, there's our smoke box door dart. My father designed the engine compartment pipework layout for class 40. That is interesting, James. Very interested indeed. DP2 is basically another Deltic, eventually rebuilt into what would become class 50s. They are better as 50s. Fair enough. So yes, there is our single-handled door dart. Which you have seen, I have plenty of research to show it has. And it goes in just fine. So we'll put some glue on it, put it back in, and there we are. They can get in to empty that smoke box out at the end of the day now, whilst they're cleaning the roof. Thought DP2 was base class 50, i.e. the prototype, yes, that is what I just said. Was to an extent, but it looked more like a Deltic than class 50 if I recall correctly. The idea was to build a 100 mile an hour diesel that, with only one engine. Deltics had 2 engines each. Given a Deltic body and was rebuilt in conventional style and became base class 50, yes, but changed design spec to have no cab nose, so to speak. Right, there we go. I am learning. Oh well, that's enough talk of dirty diesel. They are dirty, to be fair. That is true. Right, if I cut this here. I can thread a couple of these on. That's our one with a slot in the side. We'll do that one last. And then we can use that to make sure when we put these on, we're putting them on straight. Can never have enough talk about 50s. You know I don't have any 50s, right, Alex? I just want you to know that. I've got a couple of 33s, I've got a couple of 31s. I've got a Sentinel. I've got a class 5, but I've got no 50s. Or any English electric vehicles, really. Not as dirty as steam. But don't bring facts into this, James. We don't need facts. Chap in my club used to drive 50s. These a few smell much worse than steam, though. That's true, Alex. Calls them filthy 50s on the basis they were roughly 50% chance to work on any given days. 50-50. That's brilliant. Although this would have been early 90s at the end of their life on Exeter and Waterloo run. Yeah, fair enough. So had early issues, but they were ironed out and they performed well in NSE service. Enough, but no. That's enough NSE. Spec BR just didn't maintain them well enough. Have a box full of N-gauge class 50s. I ran them in NSE service. Ugh. Ugh. Too much NSE now. So, on the talk of railways and stuff, does anyone know what happened today? Because the temporary arrangements for the franchises came to an end today, and I've seen no statement on what's happening. One can never have too much NSE. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I have put in nothing wrong with that fresh livery. 50s were the best in NSE, so really, certainly at the most colourful. It's just, it's a terrible livery and a terrible time. Oh no, it fell off. I mean, I'll be honest, I only really need it on the one with it threaded through at a time, so that I can get it lined up properly. They did become unreliable towards the end of their lives. BR stopped developing holidays. Didn't even know then did. Heaven knows how the companies will cope. Craven Haven. Hello Corbs, how are you this evening? I hope you are well. But yes, technically the franchising of the railways actually ended 6 months ago. And all the operators were put onto temporary management licences that lasted 6 months, with a decision on the future of the railways to be made at the end of that period. And the end of that period was today. It got a mention in Parliament. One of the Labour guys asked what was going on with it and got the response of, "We'll make a statement when it's time to make a statement." Which isn't the most helpful of things. I think that was on Friday the government said that. Ruth Chapel Club used to drive 50s with the depot open one day for 90s. Once spoke to Chapel, had bought class 50 for a choice. Kevin started sounding very like politics. Don't make me use my more powers on you. Pointed out he'd been driving last week. If failed, living by the SVR means I have a massive 50s on my doorstep. Don't imagine that the government will be announcing much on Sunday. Surely it's a happy state of affairs. No, I don't expect they will either, but it is the date they gave for the end of the thing. And as they didn't say anything on Friday, I was wondering if there had been anything said about it. And it's not politics, Lily. We're discussing the railways. It's very important why we don't lose anything on this live stream joke is kept right now, because I do only just have enough of these that pinged onto my chair, so you'd think it would be there. But I can't see it. Which is not very helpful. Oh dear. Let's close the super glue. They just started running them again. Splendid. Which ones do they have? I see we do like 50s here. I know a few people that are really strange and like 50s. I I've honestly never seen the appeal of them. Well, that's no good. I genuinely cannot find it. This may well be the first time we ever actually lose something on the live stream. Which ones do they have? Oh, I wondered how far you were from it, Alex. Hercules Hood, Ark Royal, Exeter Defiance. Remember them from when I was a nipper. My father used to work with the English Electric, so it encouraged me to like them. It's fair enough. Splendid, I've model a hood. Remember it, Ark Royal and Exeter from when they were actually running. Sparks, 86 and 87s are better than 50s. I think I know what an 86 is. They're all a bit weird. Domino's also being worked there but lives elsewhere. Why are they better? They're different. Lastly, the line's electrified, definitely better. The line's not electrified, they're definitely worse. Yep, fair enough, James. Just personal preference, living 20 foot from the West Coast main line. Well, I can see how that would affect your opinion. Remember everyone, hydration is important. And Oak Hill Model Railway merch is available from the merch store. Exclamation mark merch in the chat. So, what I think we're going to do is stick the handrail on this side and then not look at the other side. Because if we don't look at the other side, we can't see that the handrail isn't there. Why are you not going in the hole now? Don't be like this. And there we go, it's very nicely in the hole, as it should be. I will get some more of these handrail knobs and do the other side once I have them. We have a hydration link and a merch link from James there. Thank you very much, James. '50s are not the best in the West Coast main line. Interested in what wages? They're only problem off now to be double-headed, so it gave them a reputation. Once they moved south, got refurbished, they were much better. Interesting, well, they're being refurbished, lost in the noise that gave them the nickname Hoovers. Interesting. Now, we're going to put some glue on them. That will work its way into the gaps and hold the handrail in place. Once that's dried, we can cut it short. Now we need to work with the rest of the body. Because we need an upright here, an upright here, and an upright here. Both sides, obviously. Yes, I did just forget the word sides. And these all want to come up to roughly the height of the top of the safety valves. God, chat's getting away again. Surely the best English electric products were the Lightnings. Yes, definitely. Yes, the Loco division was pretty good. Not old enough to remember them before they were refurbished, though they were in existence in that state when I was a toddler. Best the fighter aircraft, perhaps not much for pulling a train. These I know how the Alexes must feel. Just found out that Bluebell are open for platform tickets in the C-Class exhibition, so I'm definitely going to have to go. So the airfield today made them wine was a lot like a Hoover. It was very distinctive of that. The museum is currently closed through the week, Heritage Railway Productions. I know this from Peter at Club, who is a volunteer there. So yes, we're going to use this wire for the uprights, which is what we used for our slide bars. I did originally have other stuff cut to length that's in here, but it's not as strong as this, and I think having the strength there is going to be important. We are, of course, going to drill some holes into the footplate now. Which will allow us to slide it in. And give it a better grip. Yeah, that hole will do. Again. Good evening, Becca. How are you? I hope you are well. Don't worry about being late. You're here. That's what matters. Better late than never. Perhaps Becca late than never. Oh dear, James. Oh dear. That's all I have to say. I think that's deep enough to give us a decent grip. Yeah, that's good. We want to do the same to the other side. And on the front it actually attaches to the side of the cab sheets. The Lightnings were amazing. The only aircraft successfully intercepted U-2 spot plane. They were a very impressive aircraft. And probably could have hauled a decent train as well, to be fair. Well, that's no good. There was more force when I came down on this side. Never mind, nothing that can't be fixed. It'll be fine. Javier's not back yet, is he? We won't tell him about that. It's taken a lot of strength out of this side, that being gone. Hello, Javier. Well, welcome back. How are you? I hope your surprise visitor was good. You join us as we don't break anything. That really has taken a lot of strength out of that side. That's got a decent grip in there now anyway. So it'll be fine. See, they were incredible machines. So yes, I believe they were tested about 5 miles away from me at Sightfoot. Oh, awesome. I was wondering if you saw or heard about that C-Class exhibition. Did the same thing to my Captain Baxter, unfortunately. Ah. No, we didn't break anything, Javier. Nothing's broken. Rumours of breaks are greatly exaggerated. So one of the good things about Shapeways plastics is that they do take super glue well, in my experience. See, nothing broke. I don't know what you are on about. Still here, just popping in, broken whatnot. No, nothing there. They're still here. Ah, okay. Fair enough. Haven't seen it in person yet. I wonder what a Lightning would look like in NSE livery. Terrible, James. It would look terrible. I agree with James Beeston there. Dear Lord, no. Sometimes just catch it at the wrong angle and it goes. Yeah. I say that when the drill came down on this side with a lot more force than it did on this side, so it must have caught it just wrong, which is a shame, but say it takes the glue quite nicely. Yeah, it's already as solid as the other side. Be too fast for the eye to register its livery. That's a good point. Right, we are gonna drill through this, not necessarily all the way through. But maybe, we'll see. Just so we've got a little bit more for the glue to grip onto. Again, there are already indents in all the locations you need for these. Javier has done a great job of designing it. We're just opening them out a little bit. Only when it's moving, most of the time it's on the ground. Yeah, but most of the time the general public can't see it because it's at an airfield. Change what the fat's got to do with anything. Exactly, paddleboard. It's fine, nobody would notice how silly it'd look in that case. Yeah. Right, we're going to give the underside of that another coat of paint, because I think it's much more important to have the underside painted before it goes on than the top. The top can be done afterwards quite easily. I'm sure Alex is once again really impressed with my use of blue tack. It is, after all, the best use of blue tack. And there we go, there's that. Without facts, how could you think of 10 impossible things before breakfast? Well, I don't, so facts are obviously not needed. Can I tell you how much it's stressing me out? I'm just giving you all a good opportunity to use the paint spill command, that's all it is. What's the 060 tank engine? Looks a little bit like Normandy's based on the Bluebell's static display. That would be the North London tank, I believe. Very nice logo. Available as a 3D printed kit. The impossibility would rely on your opinion. It's true. I'm watching Fox News. Oh, I shouldn't laugh, and but yeah. Think of 10 impossible things. Yeah. Hear about them at least. I'm going to refill the hydration vessel. And then I'm going to remind you all that hydration is important. Without facts, nothing would be impossible. Ah, don't worry about it, James. Nothing is impossible. I think you couldn't remember what it's called. Not a problem. I think you can still get the NIR tank in white metal. Oh yes, you're right. I think South Eastern Finecast do the North London tank. You are quite right. Rescue me that I approve of NLR tanks. Well, as long as you do. Right, let's give this some red on its handles. Shouldn't really have put that paintbrush away, should I? There we go. I wonder if the NLR tank is one of the ones that worked at Cromford and High Peak. I think it is, yes. Yes it is, there we go. Awesome, love that system. Well of course, it had a Brighton logo, so why wouldn't you? A big terrier. You know, I often think, as I'm doing these live streams, all these people that do modelling properly, and say, oh, I leave 24 hours between coats of enamel paint and stuff, must absolutely hate my live streams, mustn't they? I mean, to be fair, if I wasn't live streaming, I also would leave 24 hours between coats of paint. But I am, so I don't. Apologies, I have to say goodnight now. Have a good night, everyone. Craven, thanks, looking wonderful, Gary. Thank you, Ian. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Don't work too hard tomorrow, and I hope to see you again next week. My hydration vessel contains fixins this evening. A rare treat over here. Oh, very nice. Very nice indeed. There we go, handrail shortened to length. Let's say these want to go through here, and it wants to be that tall. That's a precise measurement. Don't get it wrong. Can't tell you that, they had a second-hand one. I'm sure they did. There's a few Cromford and High Peak layouts I follow on RM Web. I'm sure someone mentioned them having an ex-Brighton logo. I can't tell you for definite. Can you remember when Captain Baxter visited Didcot? Oh yeah, that wasn't too long ago, was it? They did all of the yeah, they brought down its cousins as well, didn't they? Fletcher Jennings reunion bash. Never been to Didcot either. No, neither have I. I would like to go there and see all their broad gauge stuff. Never been to Didcot. Dear me, photographs of me with there when I was 5. Genuinely, I was okay. Fair enough. I thought they did one at Didcot, but fair enough. I remember it going to Didcot and seeing pictures of it pulling a train there. And there is 2 uprights. Must investigate, only know the XLNWR and austerities they had. Fair enough, yeah. So there is a few people that mod on the Cromford and High Peak on RMWeb in its latter days, and I'm sure there has been mention of a Brighton engine. Didcot's lovely. Didcot is a lovely place, but not lovely when you see and hear how their engines are maintained and driven. Well, I don't want to hear about that then, Becca. I've done Talafin. I have not. Much to everyone's dismay. Everyone gets really upset at me when I point that out. That is too long. Because it wasn't standing upright. I get that stuck in upright. I think it might be alright actually. Looks fine. The early engines CHPR are something I need to research. Well, that would be very interesting to see, Killian. So many railways I want to visit. My heritage railway to visit list is growing rapidly. Yeah, mine is basically every heritage railway. I'd love to see them all. It won't happen, but, you know, it'd be nice if I could. And a link to Patreon. And a call to hydration from James, because hydration is important. And so is having an Oak Hill Model Railway hydration vessel. Because it has a terrier on it, so why wouldn't you want it? If I need to visit Talafin, I keep saying. Yeah, I'd love to. I would love to, Alex. Time and other commitments. Do like Talafin. I went there when I was 7. I don't remember much from when I was 7. Never been to Talafin Railway, but I've seen Sir Hayden when he went visiting various heritage lines in the UK. Awesome. Is the right gauge track for 009? It's the right gauge of track for 009 to be in scale. It is. Remember to smash that like button, everyone, says Linny. Terrier hydration. There is not a terrier command. I know. I know. It's shocking, isn't it? The problem is, if I were to do such a command, I would want to put my terrier sound effects on it, and then you'd all keep annoying me with it. I'd regret it after 5 seconds. I would keep thinking my alert button was going off. Sometimes Hayden was painted red, and that's exactly why we do the terrier command. Like, well, you can have terrier hydration. I could. That would have to be a link to the Shapeway to the store. Yeah, they're the same height. I'm sure they are. Looks good to me. See, that can't go on yet. It needs the brake standard and stuff fitting first. So let's do that. And thank you, Lily. Yes, there is the whistle. You see, James, the way to get the Terrier command is just to keep doing things that set off my notification box. Such as donating like Linny did. It's very much appreciated, Linny. It was well worth your money. And of course, that will be money that will go back into the live streams and into the projects we are working on to aid in their completion. You know, Linny could have chosen to donate the $5 in 500 1-cent increments. That would give a good number of whistle effects. That's very true. They could have done so. What terrier have you ridden behind? This can be for everyone. Yes. Yes. I'm trying to remember what the one I rid behind at the Isle of Wight was. Linny, what terrier did we go behind at the Isle of Wight, and did we go behind a terrier? I'm sure we did, but I can't remember what one. No, the other way around. Broke down ride on Stepney Blue Boat. Don't show how it's done. 8 and 11. Did we go behind both of them? I thought we only went on the one terrier. I thought we did a trip behind the terrier and a trip behind the O2. I know they were all running that day. Yeah, that's dry enough. As you can tell by the way it's stuck to my finger. 2 terriers and an O2. Okay. Fair enough. My memory's awesome, you see. We're going to put the reverser standing upright because this is going to do as much going forward as it does go in reverse, so it would seem silly to put it going in either forward or backwards. Managed to get all 3, I think. Fair enough. I will take your word on that. Never ridden behind a terrier. I want to though, they look cool. My day trip to the Isle of Wight with Linny and the good lady Alex is the only time I have ridden behind a terrier. That I know of. I may have been behind one of the Bluebell ones when I was little, but I honestly couldn't tell you. My day trip to the Isle of Wight from Scotland. Yes! Your day trip to the Isle of Wight from Scotland. The O2 would have been Calbourne. Indeed it would have. The O2 has now retired. Yeah, we went over on what was the last time all 3 locos would have had a ticket on them. Cries in American. Yeah, probably a bit harder for you to do a day trip to the Isle of Wight to have, yeah. line up eventually. They take a bit of toying with, but they do line up. So I'm thinking if we get that on and then work out the front bits and stick them on it from that, that is the best way of doing it. I've never seen a terrier IRL. Sad times, Killian. I am shook. I thought you commuted in a terrier. No, I commute in a van. Not a box van either. Never seen a terrier in person either. It's a sad state of affairs. People should be allowed to have not seen a terrier in their life. What is the world coming to? He's got a roof. Now I can see if it's actually straight, and it looks it to me. Okay, maybe it leans a little bit that way. But he's got a roof. Got a nice fisheye lens picture of the inside of Stepney's cab when I saw it in 2013. I have pictures of the inside of Stepney's cab. At least as the van is in IEG. The current van I am driving is white. I know. It's a terrible state of affairs, isn't it? I don't like driving a white van either. I've only seen Stepney in person. But the York NRM has one. Yeah, I've never seen Box Hill. Now, Box Hill is tucked away in a corner where no one can see it, apparently. Yes, I forgot about the one at the NRM. Oh, wait, if there is one at the NRM, I must have seen one. Not necessarily, Alex. It is hidden away. The amount of time I've been to the NRM, never found two tank engines. Yeah, Box Hill is tucked away in a corner where no one can see it. Which bit of Box Hill did you see? It's funny enough, not without the chance to see it's funny, you know, as I am not without the chance to see a terrier, given one is within a 100-mile radius of me. Well, get on it then, Javier. Come back to me next week and explain and then let us know that you have now seen the terrier in person. And that's not just any terrier. That's the South Eastern and Chatham Terrier. Have a van in NSE? No, I could not, James. Yay for rain coverage. Exactly. Gary the White Van Man. Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? Yes, Box Hill's at the NRM, yeah. The bit you can see when you go to the loo at the NRM, it's tucked away. You can see the smoke box. Been to the NRM 5 times, must have seen it at least once. Seen Box Hill and West Humble. Wadden, that one. Yep, see, well, Wadden is no excuse. SEC are therefore left-handed. Its wheels are left-handed, yes. It is left-leading, whereas Brighton locos are right-leading. In fact, it's not Killian. Because before Wadden went to Canada, it exchanged wheels with Box Hill, and Box Hill is left leading, and Wadden is right leading, which is correct. But Box Hill is wrong. Obscure Terrier Facts with Gary. If you did not expect obscure terrier facts, welcome, you must be new here. Box Hill RJ2 like I've never seen at York NRM. You'll have to look harder next time. Giant's Photo Settings Cab is great, good of you to share with the world on Wikipedia. There's a lot of James's photos on Wikipedia. Oh yeah, the wheel swap I forgot. We all expect obscure terrier facts. Excellent. I am glad to hear it. Oof. Are there any other sort of terrier facts? Obscure terrier facts are the best kind of facts. I mean, general terrier facts are also pretty good. To quote Captain Blackadder, it's a bit like Crufts in here. And now we need to do the same on this side. The bot wants me to have hydration again. I say, wait, bot. I think these should attach to a different location to where the hole is, you know? That's way too long there now, isn't it? Yeah, let's lose a bit more of that. And let's not stick it to ourselves. There we go, it's on. So yes, as I say, the bot wants us to remember hydration is important. When I went to the Everone, couldn't find the corner. Was bridge, entire bridge loco slip between the cracks when you're not looking for one. Yeah. The thing is, when I went the area where the J52 was always blocked off to approve of random terrier facts, oh dear me, I've had a print fail. No, print fails are bad. I've had a Craven loco. I like random terrier facts. To be fair, last 2 times I went to the area, it was 90% me just drawing over the compound and hardware. Before I forget, another suggested answer for the PPE command, ideally rotate PPE because 10 is better, is the best number of fingers. I like that one. The original still remember the O gauge at the RM are the joys of turn-century locomotives. Random terrier fact. I like to think I'm quite good at drawing them. What do you reckon? because I drew that one. And yes, that is the one in all my logos and everything, if you want to get a good look at it. Is that your drawing? It is. I drew that. So you are probably right. Yeah, that is my drawing. I couldn't go using other people's drawings for my logos and stuff, could I? So I had to draw it. Going to see the compound this year. Perhaps the logo command could display the logo on screen for 5 seconds. Nah, we don't want that. Ontario's always very nice. Yeah, got to be good at something. He says, whilst 13 people watch him build a logo. That's quite impressive. Thank you all. I feel slightly humbled. If you want to see my Terrier logo appear on screen, James, it appears when the notification goes off. Comes up in the corner, along with your name and whatever you write as a message. Found the bridges in the car park. Why, hey! Did you walk all the way there to find it? Walk to the RM from the hotel. Never thought to look there. Yep, fair enough. Did you walk there just now to find it? Tell you what, it's a totally different looking logo now that it's got a roof. So there's a thing I know which no gauge layout you mean. I think it's still there. It was one used for signalling practice by the big railways, wasn't it? That one? Is that the one they got? LMS, I believe. Can talk properly now, I've not got a paintbrush in my mouth. Yes, sprint of a lifetime. It's quite impressive from where you are, yeah. Have you considered the Olympics? I think I've seen that one, albeit not in use. It's almost narrow gauge in style now. But is it? Am I thinking of the right one? Yes, I think so. Okay, I'll take that as a yes. It is the old signalling practice logo layout. I can do words, me. And so now that we've painted the roof, we want to paint the smoke box dark. It's going black. Now it's really nice fine scale LEDR layout. Oh, so not that one then. Roof makes the locomotive look a bit like a pavilion. It does, doesn't it? So it gives a totally different look to the whole logo. Touch up my scratches there. I'm not sure that would have been black, but it helped make it look a bit smaller as well. Oh yes, I know what one you mean, it's still there. Interesting. Signalling layout and LNR layout are both there. Oh, awesome. I was not aware of there being an LNER layout there. There is a nice early LBSC layout there as well. It's not been there long. But there's a small portion of said layout there. And there. Admittedly the same portion. No, I can't pick up the right one first time, of course not. Liquid silver. There's an HST cab in front of the doorway. Well, why not? You can't keep an HST cab inside the doorway. How are you going to get it through the door? LNER layout in the Great Hall next to Japanese bullet train. Ah, interesting. I remember it from a long time ago. Went to the Birmingham Railway Centre too. Cool. Random terrier fact: the A1 was the 5th most numerous locomotive produced by the LBSC. Well, hey, for random terrier facts. I like random terrier facts. Indeed, silver. Because we're going with steel handrails that the crew would have had to put a lot of work into keeping silver. Unfortunately, it appears they haven't put as much work into keeping them straight. God, it is nearly 11:15. What is everyone up to this evening? Do you have your own projects on the go? Please do let me know. I love to hear about them. I normally ask before now. But things have just flown by with this tank. D 125E 78, C2 55 and E4 75. Ah. And there we go. Of course, for those who don't know, there were 50 terriers. Look at the lean on that. I'm going to have to sort that out at some point, aren't I? Not happening tonight though. And there we go. Interesting, that's a lot of D's and E4s. It is, isn't it? Having an attempt at relaxing. Oh, that sounds very nice. I hope I'm helping. Is it working? Indeed, is it working? Interesting, the number of terriers built equals the number of class 50s built. Well, you know, When they were building the 50s, they wanted to emulate the terriers, obviously. So they named the class after the number of terriers built. And built that many. Trying and failing to drive class 86 in TS. Well, that's no fun. Well, actually, it probably is quite fun. I wish I could watch it. Final detailing, nice little 240. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Seen TS 2021, Alex. You've seen it's a free update. We've all got it. Oh, I never knew it was free update. Alas, I'm not relaxed. I've just got too much going on. Well, that is not good. That is not good. I wish you much relaxation. Because relaxation is important. But not as important as hydration. Gary is a welcome distraction, Lines. Well, I'm glad I'm a welcome distraction from life in general. Darn that life. Yearly update is always free. It's the routes that cost the money. Fair enough. I have an Instagram, apparently, says the bot. Go follow my Instagram, because you know you want to. Trying to find source 4 mil LSWR bogies, 24/7 elements, sold out, and they don't plan on getting any in stock any time. Ah! Well, if you hadn't have added that bit, I would have suggested 24/7 developments. Proof of relaxation. May Spicy Becca have much relaxation. Indeed, James. I approve of you also sending your good wishes of relaxation to Becca. Look at that, we got a nice looking Craven tank. At least I hope it's nice looking. If you don't think it's nice looking, then why not? Because I think it's very nice looking. I also think I need to find something else to do now. Because I'm not doing any of the electronics on it because of the dodgy wheel. That can wait. But other than another coat of paint on the roof, once that's a bit drier, there's nothing left to do. Don't fancy the Roxy prices for them though. No, I can imagine not. So approve of Craven tapes, I also approve of Roxy mouldings. Kittens, oh look, marvellous. Thank you, Alex. No, there's not a lot I can do to the Roxy kit right now. I can't even do much to my Craven brake van. Which is, as it happens, a passenger brake. So it shouldn't be in the livery, it seems. But you know. There we go. Craven tank has appropriate era brake van. Needs its lantern lookout and a roof. I need to order one. That'll happen when it happens. It's going to be in my next order. Paint your kittens. I could if I had the right colours for them. She looks swell. Thank you, Bob. I am very happy with her. I'm just looking at my unfinished projects. Would you believe I had actually planned for this? I like the brake van, as do I. It's one of Eric Gates's old kits, which it's now sold by Chris Cox of 5 and 9. Only mine is actually pre-Chris Cox getting it, and it's one of the ones that Eric made. I picked it up on eBay. We built it on stream some time ago. Don't approve of Roxy Moulding's bogey kits for £13.50 a pair without wheels and bearings. That's a lot. Looks nice, Gary, with the brake van. Thank you very much. Now, Linny, I don't want to be pointing. I don't want to sound obvious because I'm sure there's a reason you're going to say no to this. I'm just wondering what it is. You do have a 3D printer. Worked out what I'm doing wrong. I keep overloading the 86. I'm too used to the LU stock and slamming the power on full. Aha! And there we go then. I would couple the brake up, but it doesn't have couplings. Talking of Roxy Mouldings, pondered drawing bogies 3D printing, but I kind of wanted white metal ones because card carriages are already pretty light. Fair enough. See, I knew there'd be a reason, and I just wasn't clever enough to work it out. That needs some umber. Still, that's a shame. I was going to put the white on it, but it needs umber. No, that's not umber. That's also not umber. Isn't he from the right company? No, neither's that. You can tell that's not umber because it's totally covered in paint round the lid. Marsh umber. You're the wrong marsh umber. Marsh umber. The first one I picked up was my one for airbrushing that's been thinned down. So for those that don't remember, this is a Roxy Mouldings carriage that I picked up off eBay, pre-built. It was however built in its late condition in BR colours. So we built it a new brake end. Hey Alex, look at this, Alex, quick, Alex, look, blue tack. Wish I could afford the AP Class 86 pack. This old one is so bad. Well, one day, if you save up your pennies, thank God. See the Peter Spares have the SR Livered H2 at an extra discount. Ah, do they now? I have the SR Livered H2. It won't be staying SR Livered. But the SR Livered one is in Brighton condition. Needs brakes adding to the front bogie for as built condition. Those are, I believe, available from Ian at EB Models. They're definitely not on his website, but I know he drew them up for 3D printing. Sorry, I can all do anything DJs. Right, oh, thank Gary once more for yet another informative stream. Have a great week, one and all. Watch out for the onset of autumn after midweek. Hey ho. Good night, Bob. Thank you for coming by. I look forward to seeing more work on your platforms through the week. Lily, I've just looked at the Roxy Mouldings, trying Bogey B van detailing kit for the whole lot is nearly £45. Wow, £130 for only a car. That's a really good price. That is a very good price for them. Mine will at some point be getting the bogey brakes added and a repaint into photographic grey, which the identity of it already, 2421 I believe, is the logo that carried photographic grey originally. There we go. Nice umber coverage on that side, ready to accept its white paint once it dries. Car chat's got away with me now, hasn't it? I should really pay more attention. Lots of stuff is very good, but the one thing it isn't is cheap. That's very true. By Bob says very good. Right, fellow railheads, take care. Ah, good night, Becca. Thank you for coming by. I hope I have helped in some way towards relaxation. Sleep well. Still keeping my fingers crossed Batman do the Malachite livery H2. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't, to be honest. Right, but surprising they don't seem to have sold well. I think they're excellent models. So it's a little surprising. They are excellent models. Right, Becca, may have its edition smooth. Bye guys, I'm going to go now as I have an early start tomorrow morning. Stay safe and nice stream day. Okay, good night J94. Thank you for coming by. Very much appreciated. I wonder why those have not sold well. The actual sold really well. The SRH2 sold well. Start and then fell off, and the BRH2 was discounted almost immediately. Interesting member of my club bought the BR livery H2. Well, someone had to buy it. I'm surprised the H1 sold well compared to the others in LBSC livery, when you consider how long the Brighton liveried E4 sat around in shops for getting discounted. I got my first Brighton liveried E4 for second-hand prices, but I got it brand new. Hornby Lord Nelson, similar price at Hatton's. That one seems to have not sold well either. He bought it because he remembered it from when he was young. Yep, that's a good reason to buy one. Yeah, it's strange. I approve of brand new things for second-hand prices, indeed. From Rails, I think. Might have been Hatton's. I just know I was sent a link on RM Web. Saying the E4's a bit cheap. And I went, oh, 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 and went and got it. I think they sold a lot better at that price than they did at full price. I'd like an SR Olive Nelson, but I have my money saved for the Malachite one coming out. Makes sense. Lord Nelson, I can understand why it might not be selling well, being without smoke deflectors, in which condition it appeared for only a very short time. I can see that holding it back somewhat, yes. You're a Malachite person, Alex. No, Alex is not a Malachite person. He's a Malachite mole. Not a person in any sense. Are you, Alex? I mean, the giveaway's in the name. Love Olive, but Malachite I like more. And there's a link to the donations for those that don't want to sign up to the Patreon but do want to help support the channel. That is of course the link that if you go and donate there you will get your name brought up on screen with a little terrier whistle. Interesting. Did Cilio Gauge Northforeland layout which features Malachite H2 and Malachite Terrier? I have seen that layout. Interested in more a fan of Olive. Different time zone. I'm about to turn into a pumpkin, so I'll say goodnight as well. Okay, thank you for coming by, Paderborn. Has been great to have you here. Good night. Sleep well in your funny European time zone. And I shall see you next week, I hope. Right, and yes, James, I know and am a fan of that layout. I'm seeing it at Ali Pally last year. They had electrical troubles when I saw it, sadly. Oh, that is a shame. There's also Churminster Stone Magna layout, Fred and RM Web, but I imagine you won't have seen that. Oh, that's a fantastic layout. And such a fantastic collection of locos. Although the control panel for it looks quite scary. I looked at that and just was like, no thank you. Not a chance. I can't remember. The chap who owns that bought my 3D printed Nielsen smoke deflector from my Shapeway shop. Awesome. I do love that control panel. It's wonderfully insane. That is certainly one word for it. How would a single person operate that? And it's all DC. I know, it's all DC. That's why it needs a control panel like that. Absolutely insane. I would love to have a layout that could justify a control panel like that. I'm not so sure I'd love having the control panel. And there we go, that is a second coat lumber. apply all the way around the carriage. I don't have a control panel at all, just a computer. Justify a control panel like that, London Bridge 1930s. Too modern. Way too modern. I've not seen the Germans layout. I've bookmarked the thread and we'll give it a look. Oh, it's fantastic, Alex. You'll love it. Oak Hill has a control panel with stud and probe. It has 32 studs on it, and that controls all the points and all the signalling. And then it has the lens LH100 for controlling the locos. Stud and probe, God, that's old stuff. Indeed. Oak Hill is stud and probe. I wonder how close I can get the camera to Oak Hill. Give me a second, I'll see if I can get a shot of the control panel. Let's stick it on, let's give you some music while I do. There we go, there's Oak Hill's control panel. What will Oak Hill Mark II be? Oak Hill Mark II will be a full lever frame, because why not? So just off to the side there is my lens controller, plug for the layout, probe and many studs. And that is how Oak Hill is controlled. And as you can see, it's always kept wonderfully clean, and I don't have like wagons sat on grass or anything, or upturned instruction booklets. Aha, oh, lever frame, mechanical electrical linkage, see your D1, very nice. Yes, no, that's the D3. That's the D3 we've just finished. Still sat on the layout from having some photos taken of it the other day. Mechanical or electrical linkage? Yes, one of the two. Probably electrical, not decided yet. But it will all be in roughly the same place as where it is now. Right, let's bring you back over to the workbench. Oh, rear wheel was hidden disguised as a D1. Indeed it was. Indeed it was. My D1's an improved engine green. That's the only reason I knew what one it was. So yes, let's bring you back over. And we're back again. Back in the workbench. See, it's almost like I know what I'm doing. But of course, unlike, say, Jenny Kirk, who has all her many cameras to swap around, I have one camera and it's got a cable linking it to my laptop. Be interesting to have operating videos with a timetable one day. If I could get it to operate well enough, I would. I really struggled with the getting the B1 able to try pulling those carriages the other day. But yes, I would love to do some running session videos. I just need to get a layout working well enough and out. I mean, like Hailsham works, but getting it out is a problem. If I put its fiddle yards on, it's 23 foot long. Maybe one day you have a multicam setup. Once I've got a working layout, I would actually quite like that. So imagining that Oak Hill Mark II will be the one for running sessions, or maybe Upfield. Oak Hill Mark II definitely could have running sessions, but it's probably a long way off being built, to be fair. Although Oak Hill Mark I will soon be being ripped down. Sad times. There's a lot of good memories in that layout. Hailsham, that sounds long. It is. It is rather long. Hopefully good for running sessions, but a long way being built. That reminds me of my own Jade Southern layout. Oh, excellent. On which work has paused this year while I focus on my 1987 gauge. Indeed. See, we have a second coat of white. We do have a second coat of white. And it's looking absolutely fantastic. It's just so very Victorian. Which I suppose technically it would look Victorian however it looked, because it is Victorian, but shush. Don't bring facts into this. Prove of things that are very Victorian. Indeed, James, and I am, as I say, very, very happy with it. No, it's 10 past 11 and I need another project. And to move those paints, because they're in the way of me putting this leg where I want it, and I can get the camera back in where it was then. There we go, now you're straight as well. Not even obscure terrier facts. I can give you obscure Brighton facts. I suppose technically I could paint at least one of the puppies, because I know what colour one of them is going to be. So, did you know, for example, that the LBSCR, over its entire lifespan, owned 1,106 locomotives? And 620 of those passed into Southern Railway ownership in 1923. And 63% of those, I can't remember what the number is, I did work it out before, but 63% of those passed into British Railway ownership in 1948. Which was the highest percentage of any Southern pre-grouping company locos passing into BR. I approve of obscure Brighton fact, there's some I approve of puppy painting. Didn't, but I do now. There's a thing. Indeed, there's a thing. Obscure Brighton facts, because yes, I have been working hard on obscure Brighton facts recently. Interesting indeed. I wonder why that was. I don't know why. I just have the figures. It wasn't by a huge amount. Like, it was still over 50% for the others. I think one of them was slow. I think the SECR was over 60% as well. But it wasn't as high as the Brighton. But, I mean, in reality, we all know it's just because the best locos were built at Brighton. And hydration is important. Right, projects. What do I have? We're going to be having a vote for the project next week, I think. I do believe due because this was our last project in the vote list that wasn't a draw for last place. It surprised me that the LBSC had the smallest loco pool of the three SR constituents grouping and the majority were tank engines. Yes, indeed. I mean, relatively speaking, the Brighton was a small line. Tank engines worked it better, so by the end, the opinion was, what's the point of building tender engines when we can just build tank engines? But they still built turntables everywhere because they wanted the tank engines to run smokebox first. Because it looks right. Oh look, there's a hydration leak. Brighton locomotives tend to be more expensive to build than others, I understand. I believe so, yes. The M7 was still the longest serving pre-grouping passenger tank. And Fenchurch was the oldest locomotive in British Rail ownership. What's your point? Well, I guess the SCCR would be the smallest, so it took me by surprise. Fair enough. Now one question, did the SR still turn Brighton tanks? I believe so. Yes. You don't see many pictures of Brighton tanks running backwards. Longest serving, even longer than the BT Whale tanks. Ah, you've been challenged, Alex. But yeah, Fenchurch was the oldest loco in BR ownership when it was withdrawn. There was the NLR crane which was built in 1857. There was, but that was withdrawn before then. Fenchurch was the oldest when it was withdrawn. Excellent, useful research there, and you're right about the pictures. Yeah. So I can't say for definite that the SR carried on turning them, but you don't see many pictures of them running backwards, so I think they probably did. World tanks were relegated to goods, M7 still did the jobs they were designed for. But were they the longest serving? You never specified longest serving in their original role. Right, I need to go find a project for the next 45 minutes. So, enjoy some music. I forget nothing. So I came up with a project that we need to do, that we can do in 45 minutes. Of course, what I need to do first is check which one of these things in my hands I need. Don't bring up a cookie link in front of me. I think I know which one of these it is I need, but I need to check. It is indeed the one I thought it was. I do like the M7s, I approve of projects, because what we need is a Victorian loco crew. Because it might be a nice tank engine, but it ain't going to drive itself. And I just so happen to have some of Andy Staddon's Victorian crews. I appear to have a complete bag of them. I did not realise that. So, for those that don't remember how these work, Andy Staddon's crews come with a body, a selection of heads, and many, many arms and shovels. Still wondering whether I get a Dapple Terrier for my own layout. I mean, you need a terrier. A friend of mine who has both the new Rails Dapple one and the Hornby one would recommend getting the Hornby one. I will again remind people I do not have either of the new tooled ones, but that is what I'm being told by someone that has both of them. Interesting why the Hornby one. He says, although, you know, we know the Hornby one has many errors, he says the errors are less obvious than the errors on the Rails one. And with the price difference, he does not feel that the Rails Dapple one is worth the extra money. He also reports that his Hornby one runs better than his Rails Dapple one. So there is that. Oh yes, the Headless Horseman figures. That's the one, although these are different Headless Horsemen, because these are Victorian ones, not Edwardian ones. Did you not ask? I understand that Dapple is much easier to DCC fit. If it was, then I would question why they still aren't sending out the DCC fitted ones. And he is DC. His Dapple one likes to derail over point work. His Hornby one runs beautifully over it. So I am happy with those. I just need to find myself some heads. I'm tempted to go with this one here with his big cap. Not cap, his big bowler hat type thing. I think he'll look good on there. And then one with a much smaller hat for the fireman. Go with that one and that one. Not sure I need a terrier, however. It'd only be a station pilot for the XLBSC size station. I've already got a P class for that. But the question arises then as to what will hold the regular locomotive coal trains for the engine shed. You need a terrier. Everyone needs a terrier. That is the answer to that question, James. Do you need a terrier? Yes. Once you have that terrier, the question becomes, do you need another terrier? The answer is still a yes. At what point does terrier ownership become too much? Never. There is no such thing as too many terriers. And it could be both and it could run as station pilot, or it could pull loco coal. That'd be fine. Thought had crossed my mind that an all terrier layout at one point. I approve of an all terrier layout. Oak Hill was originally meant to be an all terrier layout. There's his face. Perhaps loosely based on Peckham Rye in the 1880s. See, that sounds good. That sounds good. Interesting how Oak Hill have worked as an all terrier layout. Well, it's a end of a branch line. And I had 3 terriers. So it would have worked much like it does now, but all the services would have been hauled by terriers. Because of course before Oak Hill I modelled the 1950s. The late 50s for that matter. I know, it's shocking. Don't stick to my hand, stick to the body. But I always liked the pre-grouping era, and specifically the Brighton, and even more specifically terriers, so I had accumulated a few. The underground base layout has more appeal. Fair enough, James, fair enough. Peckham Rye at least has a junction, although not absolutely clear as to when the D1s replaced the terriers. Probably around the time the D1s were built. So it would have been around like 1900 at the latest, because the scrappings of the terriers started when the D1s started to replace them around 1900. And the terriers didn't get their reprieve till 1905, so it would have been the early years of the 20th century. If only possibly the 1890s, Billington D3s were able to replace the D1s. Ah. Although I know that D3s were used on trains that passed Dulwich. If they replaced D1s, they'd done Southern Line passing by Peckham. D1s were built the year after the terriers. Ah, fair enough. So it would have been when the D1s would have got down-rated on services, or the services would have got too strong for terriers then. So early years of the 20th century is most likely when it was. D1s were intended to be outer suburban duties and the A1s for inner suburban duties. Indeed they were. And a terrier on its inner suburban duties with 12 carriages behind it still looks absolutely ridiculous. But there we go. What would have made this easier? That's right, not having put the roof on yet. Alright, it wants to go down to just below where his jacket meets. Originally just A's and D's, of course, indeed. Gosh, 12 carriages, even 12 four-wheelers would be quite a sight. Indeed, there is a picture, possibly in the Carriage Bible Volume 1, of a terrier with 12 on it. And it's just like, how? How are you pulling that? You should not be able to do that. You're too small. Because, of course, even next to Stroudley four-wheelers, a terrier looks ridiculously small. Trick was the small wheels, I think, good acceleration, tractive effort in exchange for low top speed, which is not a problem for a Suburban. Indeed, but they weren't that slow. Oh, I'm talking about tractive effort. They had about £7,000 tractive effort. I want to say £7,165 of tractive effort, but I'm definitely wrong there. There's no way I'm remembering that accurately. They wouldn't be able to get up much speed, even if they had large wheels, say, between Peckham Ryan, Denmark Hill and anything. No, they were definitely built for their acceleration. But when Brighton went over to the Paris exhibition, they tried it out. I can't remember on what line they tried it on, but it was running services on trials, and it was doing 50 miles an hour. So I remembered the 65, I just got it in the wrong place. I'm happy with that, you know. I'm happy with the fact, you know, I've got the right numbers, bar the one, just in the wrong order. So thank you for that, Lily. But yeah, on the trials over when they were trying it in France, it was getting up to 50. Expected that a terrier would have to be very lightly loaded to go to 50. I don't know what it was pulling. I would love to know what it was pulling. I have so far not been able to find out. On a run from Dieppe to Paris, arranged to persuade Chemin further. Yeah, I can't speak French. Company's boat trains meet the LBSCR ferries. Newhaven can make better time than the capital. Brighton maintains a speed of nearly 50 miles an hour, previously unheard of on that line. There we go. But I still don't know what was behind it. Because, wild guess here, the terrier probably wasn't hauling an entire boat train. My fingers have got stuck together and think that I'm at a rock concert. How goes the model? Like that. Chemin de Fer de l'Ouest. Did I get that right? Is that how it's supposed to be said? I like when people spell things phonetically. I'm better at it. Companies no more, and it seems like a reasonable guess that super glue. Yeah, see, we're building it a crew now, Javier. But this is its new driver. Very English accent, but otherwise, yes. Yeah, I cannot do a French accent. You do not want to hear me try. I would offend the entire nation of France. And I'm not about that life. Have we named him? Not yet. He does not yet have a name. But he's doing better than the fireman, who currently has no arms. Fascinated by steam-hauled inner suburban services. If I had space for unlimited layouts, I'd build the Peckham layout and the underground layout. Sadly, my shed is not a TARDIS. Well, you know what you need to do then, don't you, James? You need to make your shed into a TARDIS. The fireman should be called Wilbur. Do we have a reason for Wilbur? Shoveling with his shoes, I presume. Brilliant, good job, Sam. Currently, yes. Do a live stream on making a shed into a TARDIS. I'll watch it with great interest. No, I will do that live stream if you tell me how. You send me instructions on how to do it. It's a nice name. Yep, fair enough. That's as good a reason as any, I suppose. But what he needs is a shovel. He's not actually going to be shoveling coal. He's going to be stood up with his shovel in his hand by his side. Oh, look at that, I've got the height about right on first guess. That's convenient. Wilbur sounds like a Victorian fireman. It certainly does sound Victorian, yes. Forgot that joke some time ago, Dave. No, he's a driver, not a railway modeller. Signalman should be called John. Disappointed. James, where's the LTSR layout? Every TARDIS has one. Oh, are you building the TARDIS then, Harry? And how are you? I hope you are well. All firemen should be called Ralph and told off for playing with the whistle. The trouble with the if I don't infinite space, I'd definitely build an LTSR out. Trouble with the LTSR, I'd have to build everything from 3D printed kits. No, you wouldn't. There's some resin kits for LTSR locos from Golden Arrow. You are good. Excellent. Glad to hear it. If I get that there, I can get it attached to both his hand and his shoe. To give it a little extra strength. That was good, wasn't it? It stuck to the glass and stood upright. There we go. Building a TARDIS, I'll build an LTSR out to go there. Can be an alternative when you get the TARDIS. Interesting, what chassis would go with these? I don't know. Also, I'm sitting waiting on Golden Arrow 51. The 69 isn't the best. Always thought that Barking would be a good location for that. If I ever did one, Ray Ripon 69 is far superior. Fair enough. I thought the 51 had come out as well now. So we'll put Wilbur Ralph McWhistleson there. And we'll see if we can find an arm that lets him be leaning on the side of the cab. Doesn't want to stand there though, does he? Always wanted to horn shirts, sporty tanks, change into district electrical locomotives would be a wonderful thing to model. Interesting, my horn shirts. The horn shirts, bit of everything. Plans to make some kits of my own. White metal, of course. Ah, that would be interesting. And there's the arm we want, and I can see what angle to do it at. So we should be okay here to give Wilbur Ralph McWhistleson an arm. Fell asleep and woke up when I dropped my computer mouse. I think it's time to call it a night. I do believe that is time to call it a night, Linny. So good night. Thank you for coming. It has been wonderful to have you here. Sleep well, preferably in a bed rather than sat at the computer. Better get me TARDIS instructions in that case. Night after Craven. Good night, Gary. Thank you, Linny. Good night. I have to check with the police. I hear they're selling kits for them. Don't stick to me, just move into the position I want you. Now I'm going to get all these ones back into the bag before we lose them, because losing them would be bad. There we go. How are we planning an LTSR layout? I think Harry's planning an LTSR for everything. Let's get a touch extra super glue on there. Didn't actually want you to roll over onto that side because, you know, now you'll just stick to the glass. Silly Wilbur Ralph McWhistleson. Those two people look glad of their pavilion roof. Yes, I'm sure they are. So I think they were very lucky to get a roof, especially with Craven in charge. And there we are. It has a crew. Apart from Distant Dream of Hornchurch, no, but the main layout is heavily influenced by it. And there we go. See? We can do these things. Locomotive's cute little thing. Tries to sneak in without being noticed. Hello, Max. How are you? It is a very cute little locomotive, isn't it? I'm very happy with it. Looking lovely, thank you for practically many moons ago. Superb BR era route of the LTSR. I spent many hours driving that one. Marvellous, thank you. We should get some paint or something on this crew. Because we've got 15 minutes left. Very nicely that, yeah. Tell you what, I'm going to look through my records tomorrow, because I probably have the name of the crew that actually drove this, the names of the crew that actually drove this engine. So there's a good chance I can actually give these people actual names. Craven tank looks great, thank you, Harry. And there's Alex's message about the LTSR again. Oh really, that's it. What's your current layout? Doing well, I'm glad to hear it, Max. Very glad indeed. Oh, now that confusing time where we start painting in acrylics. If we can find the right one. There it is. Oh, there's some more arms here. I need to remember to save some of these arms. I've got a bag of just the spare arms. Because our vicar here is missing an arm. And I doubt he's very happy with that state of affairs. Good evening, Simon. How are you? I hope you are well. Feels like it's been a while since you've been able to get along. Is that your Oak Hill Works logo in the background? This one, this is indeed Oak Hill. Well spotted, Max. That also needs a crew, but it's not getting one right now. That is a logo I designed myself. Space arms must be useful if you forgot your PPE. Brilliant. Where is that? Wonder what Wilbur's ghost thinks of this Craven model. Who knows? I hope he's happy with it. How did you build it? It is scratch built out of brass. It is all brass sheet, that one. Much more difficult than Javier's wonderful 3D printed little Craven tank here, which has been great fun to work on. Really, been busy with work, just come home. It's pest control. Up for work at 5:30. Oh, fun. Well, that's between Brooklyn and Pitsea. Nice specific area you've got there then, Harry. Right, there's Dave with his blues on. And now Wilbur Ralph McWhistleson needs to get his. Definitely a Hornby 04 chassis under that works logo. It is. You are correct about that. It is cut down in length because the loco is a lot smaller. It was originally built with a triang one. Don't drop it. Still don't drop it. I'll give this guy a blue cap. Quite right, okay. You know what I said about this old Class 86 sucking? Well, I've just randomly lost all power, so this run is bust. Oh, fun! That sounds so fun, Alex. Let's keep more opportunity for fun and lots of stress. Fair enough. We're about to tell you that, James. Well, this is highly unfortunate. Many levels. Oh, really? Wow, yeah. Yes, Max. Yes, indeed. It's still at the planning stage. Not 100% sure to be progressed, but the plan for it will be loosely based on Moorgate. Well, Mr. Mole will approve of that, as you well know. Going to go now. Catch you guys next week. Okay, thank you for stopping by, Max. And I will see you next time, I hope. Right, that is that colour done. I apparently still don't have any black in acrylic. I really need to work on that. Already had this conversation with Mr. Mole, who recommends some very useful books for my research. Indeed. I do remember that. Excellent choice. Yes, we'll be seeing final plans when the TARDIS is measured up. So you're going to have to get on with designing this TARDIS now, James. We're going to get some nice, shiny, polished black shoes on him. His hat's also going to be black. So LU layout can fit into the non-TARDIS shed. It's not at the same time as the Ulterior layout. Well, that's a terrible shame for your LU layout that it won't get built then, isn't it? If I had limitless space, I'd also have a narrow gauge layout. I can highly recommend a narrow gauge layout. They are good. I had a fair few more books about the early in my collection since then, mainly about district and early deep level lines. Oh, very nice. Am I right in thinking design first? Theoretically, if I had limitless space, I could model the whole world's railways in 1-to-1. Theoretically, yes, but imagine the time taken to do it. And there's a remember to smash the like button. We must be only a couple of minutes from the end. The LU layout, the 930s, is difficult because the LMS locomotives that work the line aren't even available in kit form. Like to you all, is it also TARDIS? For the early 20s or late 50s, or a convertible layout that could do either. Or scratch build. There's always scratch building. Who needs kits when you can scratch build? He says, whilst building a kit, also having one of his scratch builds on display. If I had TARDIS, I could make a fortune running a warehousing company. You got a good point there, James. Shame about that is that Julia layout sounds much better. Doctor Who's really missing the trick. He is, you're right. Get signage plausible enough, changeable likewise figures. Yeah. Imagine the transport service he could run as well. I'll store your stuff for you, and I can bring it to you at anywhere in the world at any point in time. Anywhere in the universe at any point in time. Convenient. Make the signage plausible enough or changeable. Likewise, figures. Well, sure, changeable with tiny little magnets. But yeah, if I can scratch build that, I see no reason anyone can't scratch build. Do a rebuild, and we'll get a rebuild with new parts and stuff. Magnets was what I was thinking too. Excellent. With magnets in the wall and the signs printed on metal. What have you modded warehouses in 1-to-1 scale? Answer to everything, hasn't he? Right, I'd like to remind everyone, now that it's midnight, that hydration is important. And I'd also like to thank you all for coming. We have a Craven tank. The tank has a crew, even though you can't see them. If I put a layer of steel underneath platforms, tiny magnets in the bases of the signs and the figures' feet, that might just work. I'm not sure how stable the figures would be in that arrangement. Magnets would be a very good idea. So don't try this or anything similar. And other suggestions that I've heard, tubes and rods I approve for crew. When I've seen it done, I've always seen the magnets embedded in the permanent thing. So the magnets in the floor, and then whatever it is that is going into them, made of steel, is what I have always seen. But there's no reason it couldn't work the other way round. have a crewed Craven tank. We do indeed. Prove a crew. Of course, tubes and rods could also work, James. Huzzah for Victorian progress. Yes, Victorian progress indeed. I need to get a train for it to hold. Haven't I imagine work well. Magnets could also stop them being broken. An interesting point. That is true, yes. So yes, I'd like to thank you all for coming. I now make it nearly 3 minutes past midnight. I've had an absolutely fantastic time. We definitely need a new project for next week. Because, well, we're done for now till I get around to ordering from Scale Link and getting a new wheel. Victorian progress is the best sort of progress. I'm told that's 009 progress, kittens next week. I've got to get more paint for them, James, because I don't have the paint colours I want for them, and I want them to be the bestest kittens. Pumpkin. Oh, so yes, thank you for coming, everyone. It's been absolutely fantastic. I've had a great time. You have been fantastic as always. Rachel is always United. Prove the best kittens. Tremendous progress. Quite amazed as always. Excellent. Thank you, guys. If you have ideas for what you want to see next week, let me know. Preferably before Tuesday, and I'll try and do a video looking at ideas. But yeah, thank you for watching. I've been Gary, this has been Let's Build, and you've been awesome. Bye for now.